Do you like comic books, video games, movies, and television? Are you way more interested in fictional superheroes than actual human beings or real life? Do you like listening to people discuss these topics for roughly an hour or two at a time?
Well, if you liked when this asshole did it alone,
You're gonna love me. This is the intro to our podcast, ain't it? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bat in the Hat podcast, where we dive deep into all things nerd. My name is Deacon Frost, and with me, as always, is Matt. Just Matt. What's up, Matt?
yo, what's up, scare up?
Jesus Christ. Why do we still do this? I don't.
That's J-Rock, dude. You don't watch Trailer Park Boys.
I don't watch Trailer
You're
Park
doing yourself
Boys,
a big
but
disservice, but me, myself, and Irene are doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a big weekend, man. We've been again, since we made the show bi-weekly, we always have like a decent amount of news and stuff to watch or to talk about, but this D23 weekend has been crazy.
News is pumping out as we're tracking.
Yeah,
so
really.
So guys, if we might get updates while we're discussing,
We'll just pause and breaking news.
this just in.
But yeah, man, it's been good. I just moved into a new apartment, which you helped me with a lot doing that.
Yep, and I just got back from Orlando like 2 hours ago.
How was Orlando?
It was a good time.
What'd you do down there?
Time spent with family and family friends. Nothing crazy. Just stayed at a nice resort.
That's good.
Hung out by the pool, did some things.
That's
Much
good.
needed downtime.
Oh yeah, man. Sometimes, guys, you just need a little downtime, little time to say, "Hey, there is no laws when you're drinking claws."
Oh man.
And
Oh no.
It's okay. I hate myself just as much as you all do.
Ha!
But you know what? I figured today we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna talk a little bit about Blade, which I realized as we were talking before the show, we should have done a different episode. But I'm thinking we'll do this next time. I really want to dive in. You know, we have a lot of Eternals news, and not a lot of people out there really know who the Eternals are. You know, the deal with the Eternals and the Celestials, and kind of what that storyline brought about and what that could mean for the MCU. So today we're going to talk about Blade in honor of the remake with Mahershala Ali, which we are very excited about. But next week we're going to be diving into the Eternals and kind of let you guys know what that's all about and maybe learn some stuff ourselves, because I definitely need to do some more research. But
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, in a sense, for the, I don't want to say average, for the just like the casual MCU
Right.
fan, you know, just people who like good movies and have followed along,
right.
we're all kind of jumping into uncharted territory.
Well, and I don't want to
So.
get into it like too much now, but one of the
Yeah.
biggest storylines for the Eternals was written by Neil Gaiman,
Mhm.
who's a god, and
Is he an Eternal?
based on his storyline, it could have major implications for the MCU. Excuse me, and I'd be really excited to see that happen. Obviously, you know, we're not reporters. I get all of my news through the various other, you know, channels and other people who do this.
I get all of my news from the person directly in front of me.
Yeah, one of the great channels out there is called Emergency Awesome, if you guys get the chance, or you probably already know about it, and he truly gets breaking news to the minute. They send him a lot of promotional stuff, and he gets to break news before other people sometimes, because he's built himself such a community of that on YouTube, and he's like a true comic book historian. So, dude's awesome, but... so we really are going to get into that next time. I think we're going to do back-to-back shows if we can swing it this week and next week instead of being bi-weekly. We'll see how that goes. And then we'll do the Eternals when we get the chance. But today, we are going to talk about Blade. And I don't even know how much we're going to talk about Blade, Matt, because like we said, there's a lot of shit that came out of D23 that we definitely need to talk about.
Now, specifically, we're going to be talking about the Blade films. Correct.
The Blade films,
Right.
the Wesley Snipes 90s and early 2000s trilogy. So
Yep.
it is which I've seen, of course. I think we've both seen them multiple times. I just recently watched the first one again, and man, did it have some amazing moments and some stuff that didn't really hold up.
It's some of my favorite good bad movies, and you know exactly what
Yeah.
I mean by
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like, some of them are not great at all, but you just love to watch them.
Me and Matt are both really big fans of good bad movies. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean?
Sometimes you just gotta just sit back and enjoy. Like,
sometimes it's nice, dude. Me and my
overanalyze,
brother used to do like a bad movie night, like every week. When I was living in South Carolina, we did it every week, and some of our favorite movies came out of that. One of the really great horror movies that we thought was going to be terrible was called Terrifier, and it was on Netflix. And we genuinely thought it was going to be an awful movie, and it ended up being one of the creepiest, fucking well done indie horror movies I've ever seen in my life. So, sometimes you just got to appreciate like a bad movie. But
right on.
Let's jump into the news because we got a lot of it.
Fire away, Chief.
First one I want to talk about is the El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, just got a new trailer, and it was, God, what was his name in the show? I don't remember his name.
Who, Aaron Paul?
Huh?
The lead?
No, it was Jesse Pinkman's friend. His
the one that they show in the trailer?
Right, that they showed.
I can't recall.
So
his
he's being
character
interrogated by police, and he's basically giving this speech of, I'm not going to tell you. I know what they did to Jesse and how they chained him up and forced him to cook. And even if I did know where he was, which I don't, I wouldn't give you shit. And it was such an intense trailer, and it really brought you back into that feel.
For anybody who hasn't seen the show, first of all, do it. You'll really enjoy it. It's a great show.
Absolutely
but
have
to kind of build on what the trailer is portraying is at the end of the arc, I'm not going to like spoil stuff for anybody who hasn't seen it, because really you should watch it. But this character, Jesse Pinkman, is just, I mean, borderline torture, just put in a cage,
right.
just forced to, make drugs. But anyways, what they're saying is hey,
drugs.
I saw what his fate was last time, and I'm not going to contribute to that happening to him again.
Right. Basically, he was forced into a cage, and I'm not going to help you cops put him back into one.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really intense, and it brought you back to the intensity of the show itself, which the thing about Jesse Pinkman as a character, Aaron Paul, who portrayed him wonderfully, was he had some of the best, if not the absolute best, character development over a series that you've ever seen. I mean,
you saw him start in one place and just
right.
I mean,
you
by
saw
the time
him
the show
start
was over,
as kind of this punk ass kid, and you ended up rooting for him every step of the way, and it really is something special. They were going to kill Jesse off in the first season originally, and he became such a fan favorite so fast that they ended up keeping him.
It would have been nowhere near.
Yeah, Vince Gilligan, the creator of the show, said he had never had any intention of him being the star of the show like he became. And
because if you don't know, well, I mean, it's been so long. I'm sorry, I'll just have to speak openly about it. But the show, there's two stars. It's Jesse Pinkman and Walter White. So that's Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul. The ending leaves one of the characters in a very ambiguous style finish.
Right.
It's either clear as day or it's just up in the air. They obviously don't show either of the lead characters in the trailer.
Right.
You know Jesse Pinkman's in it because it's in the bio. It's about him.
Right.
Walter White, we'll see.
And if I'm not mistaken, it's called El Camino because that shot of him driving away, he drove off in an old El Camino.
I believe it's, if I'm not mistaken, this should be taking place immediately after.
Yeah, it should be what happened after. And I'm
he
sure
kind of just took off. Like, there was no other than that. He literally got in the car and left, and that was his last scene. So.
We also got some Star Wars news. Star Wars,
a little bit, right?
Star Wars Episode 9 got a really great new poster, which
the poster's amazing,
fantastic,
so good.
And it has
Kylo's wearing his helmet again.
Right, it has Kylo fighting Ren right on the front, and there's a lot of beautiful blue. What did I say?
You said Ren. Kylo fighting Ren.
Kylo's fighting Rey right on the front. Beautiful blue lightning and red lightning coming off of the lightsabers as they clash. And in the background, the clouds in the foreground kind of form the Emperor Palpatine's face. And I am so excited.
Yeah, I heard they didn't show it, but I heard at D23 there was either promo art or footage, take your pick.
Right.
That Rey is wearing like a Sith robe, and she's wielding a double-bladed red saber.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Now, everybody's getting the Darth Maul feels.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Arguably one of the coolest live-action
coolest live-action villains who never got his due.
Yeah.
But
if you saw the end of
Rogue
Solo.
One. Oh, it was Han Solo. That's right.
Oh, boy, still alive.
That wasn't Rogue One?
That was
Han Solo. Yeah, you're right. Or Solo.
Which was quite a surprise, really. Big time surprise. I have a feeling they're not going to just leave that. Yeah, they're going to build on that eventually. But yeah, episode 9, to be honest, I'm with a lot of the people. A little lackluster about how this trilogy's been handled, in my opinion.
Right.
So I was kind of like, whatever. But it's the end of the saga. I want to know how it ends.
I don't think it's been handled that poorly, to be honest. I just think
kinda
that the second... So JJ set up a really great first movie. A lot of people complain about The Force Awakens because they were like, it resembles
it mimics
A New Hope too much.
Yeah.
It's a start of a trilogy, and it set up a really great trilogy. And then Matt, whatever his fucking name was, who came in and did
That's Rain Johnson.
Huh?
Rain Johnson?
Brian Johnson?
No, are you talking about the director of...
Yeah.
Its
his name
was
wasn't
like
Rain.
Yeah.
No, the fuck it wasn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I keep thinking it's Dwight, because his name's Rain Wilson.
I feel like I've never heard that. Fact check that for me real quick.
Okay.
But
we'll call him Doodoo Bird.
Regardless, he just said "fuck you, JJ" and threw away everything JJ Abrams had done. And then they were like, "Oh, nobody liked that movie," which I didn't hate it until I looked like more into it, and I got really annoyed.
It was fine, but not fine as a sequel to The Force Awakens.
Exactly. So I agree. And he just said everything JJ set up, I trashed. So then they brought JJ back, and I can't believe...
Rain or Ryan Johnson.
It's Ryan. Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, it's spelled
that's right.
Rian.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson.
His parents hate him.
Regardless, what was I saying? JJ came back, and they were like, hey, can you fix this? And he said, well, you fucked everything I did, so I guess.
And he's like, sure.
Yeah, I'll try.
Now, full disclosure, I'm a huge J.J. Abrams fan. Like, I love everything he's involved with. What do they always joke about? The solar flashes and like all of his scenes where it's like always the damn...
Oh, they called him
like the light flares.
The JJ sparkles.
Yeah, I love it. I love all that stuff. So I have no doubt that he somehow laid a good foundation. They took that foundation, threw it in a blender,
right?
And he's gonna come back and take the mush and turn it into a nice like painting that shouldn't be special but goes for $10 million, like paintings do.
So not only did we get that really great poster, but The Mandalorian got its first real trailer. Dude,
you want to talk about fans like just chomping at the bit?
Those murdered stormtrooper heads.
How dope is that?
Like,
and that's another Favreau outing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I love Jon Favreau.
He puts out gold.
Yeah, I love Jon Favreau.
He takes in my opinion, really good care in presenting the material that he's directing.
Well, and it
shows.
He doesn't make everything he makes is not always amazing. He's had a couple. Again, The Lion King was his, but
Dude, Jungle Book was too, and that was awesome.
He did Jungle Book?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it was very good.
Well, the thing about him that I love so much is he truly is a fan of this stuff.
Yeah,
he truly is like...
It shows.
I've wanted this stuff to happen my entire life. So all of the things me and my friends have ever like talked about and joked about, I'm going to make happen, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
But if you guys haven't seen it, we have links to all that stuff on our page that we stole from other pages. Feel free to go check out the Mandalorian trailer, the new poster for Episode 9, and the announcement of Ewan McGregor coming back and reprising his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi in some... We don't know what yet. It's some capacity of a new show.
No, they just said it was an Obi-Wan show.
It's an Obi-Wan show, but it's also rumored to be animated. We don't know.
No.
Yep, it is. So we're not entirely sure the full capacity of what it is.
That just kind of kills it.
But Ewan McGregor is coming back.
You said it wrong.
Ewan McGregor.
No, Ewan.
It's
Chris Tucker and Ewan McGregor.
Fuck off. Anyways, he is he is coming back, and arguably next to Alec Guinness, did such an amazing... I say next to Alec Guinness, like more people did it, because the guy who did the voice acting in the Clone Wars was great too.
Yeah.
I think that Ewan McGregor holds such a really great spot in our hearts.
It's hard not to like him.
Right.
In anything he does, honestly.
The thing he did that Alec Guinness didn't do was he had so much charisma, really, for the role. Alec Guinness, to be fair, though, was the old...
Yeah.
He was old, and he was done with all this history that he had left behind of being Obi-Wan.
McGregor did a good job at capturing that. You're right. So the OG Obi-Wan, it had already happened to him, and
right.
He was living in the aftermath.
Right.
And I feel like Ewan McGregor did a great job of going from, I'm chilling as a Jedi to all of this stuff happened. My world's turned upside down. How do I live with it?
Yeah.
I think arguably this might sound crazy to some, but I still think arguably the best moment in the entire Skywalker saga, including every film that has come out,
right,
was the conflict between him and Anakin in when Revenge of the Sith.
It's over.
When you can tell he's brokenhearted.
Yeah,
and it's not, and yes, they do the high ground jokes, and it's a great scene. But what you like the way he portrayed that scene, where you can tell he's just devastated. He's like, you were it, man. Like you were the one, and it's amazing. It's just like some of the finest acting, and then of course, Hayden Christensen's doing a really good job of just laying there. So
hey, real quick, I want to just mention apologies to everyone listening. If you can hear, we have a couple fans going because it's really hot in this new apartment. We're going to try a noise gate filter to just make sure that we kind of see if we can, block it out. And I have one that works pretty well, but it doesn't always come across great. So we're going to try it out. But if I have to put it in unfiltered, if I have to upload this unfiltered, apologies. We'll have it fixed by the next show.
We're starting to get a lot of people listening, so we have loud fans that always interrupt our show. Like they just...
Yeah.
And I love it. Love it.
Fans.
Two loud fans.
Anyways.
Double entendre. Something. Her name is Chandra.
What? Anyways.
I'm sorry.
So we have one really cool piece of news to come out. This was a little older. This didn't come out of D23 or anything, obviously, because it's DC news. But there's rumored that 4 shows are going to spin out of the Crisis on Infinite Earths event. 4 new shows for DC that are all going to be part of the Arrowverse. And those shows are, all of which, I keep looking at this list. It's only 4, but I keep looking at it, and all 4 are a fucking great idea. One is Metal Men, which is a pretty awesome, underrated series. The next is Dial H for Hero, which they just reprised in the comics for, I think it was a 7-issue mini. Dead Man, who is an awesome, awesome character. Boston Brand, part of the Justice League Dark. And The Question, who undoubtedly, if any of these get a show, it should be The Question. Because he is basically Rorschach, a little bit of Batman. He's an awesome detective. And I think he'd be a really great addition to the Arrowverse. But I think that's a cool notion that we might have a couple of new shows spin out. And the rumor is that, how, I don't know if you know this, but because I know that you stopped watching a long time ago, but like Supergirl and Superman are technically in a different universe than the Flash and Arrow, and they have to hop dimensions to go see each other.
Yeah.
The rumor is that after Crisis, all of these universes are going to become one.
Great.
So all the heroes are in the same, and that's how we'll get more stuff.
My honest opinion, because I feel the need to interject it here, is I really wish that after this huge event, which it's very ambitious, I applaud them on what they've done with the people they're bringing in and everything, but I wish that all the CW DC shows would just cease.
Really?
Yeah. I think they've run their course.
I don't know if I agree, man. I think there's a market for it.
I wish they would put all their eggs into the DC Universe style shows, because those are killer.
But to be fair, I don't think that it has to be mutually exclusive. I think that Titans and Doom Patrol and stuff like that on DC Universe have been awesome. But there's certainly a market for the CW shows. I haven't watched in a long time. I've been watching Flash.
But we've talked about this, though. Do you not see that, like, or not see, but do you not agree that when they started, they were fantastic, and then they kind of just become the same One Tree Hill plot,
right,
over and over and over
and
again?
I 100% agree with that. But just
especially the Flash,
just because you and I may not love it doesn't mean that there aren't fans out there who absolutely...
They should agree with what we think.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, there are people out there who adore these shows. And
that's what I was saying. It's just my opinion.
It's really hard for me because I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm like, sometimes, honestly, in my head, I'm like, how can you not agree with what I'm saying? But, we got to really take a step back.
That's the beauty, like, on our page on Facebook. That's the beauty of it. It's like, everybody has a completely different opinion, and I love it because we all see it differently. But Arrow and Flash, arguably the first 2 seasons of those shows are perfect.
I'm glad you brought up our page, because that actually, I can give you a perfect example of what we're talking about right now. And that is that we just put up a poll last week or earlier this week.
Like a flagpole?
Yeah, it was a 25-footer.
Oh, right on.
I don't even know if that's like tall enough to
Dang,
to
dang, that's
hoist.
in our budget.
I don't even know if that's tall enough to hoist the flag, but the
Sure
like
it
a
is.
proper one. But
Sure
we posted a poll on our Facebook page, the Bat in the Hat podcast Facebook page, that it was showing Brian Michael Bendis had just revealed
Oh, the Robin suit.
Robin's new suit, right?
Right.
And this is Tim Drake Robin in Young Justice, because Young Justice in the comics is back, not the Young Justice show that's going on right now, but the comic series that is going on, which is phenomenal.
Apparently, the show's killing it too.
The show I just caught up finally. Oh my god, I get so excited for every new episode
On the
that comes
show,
out.
I'm at the point where I need to start over. Do you know what I mean? Like where
Would you go back to season 1 or just season 3?
No, I would go all the way back to the beginning because it's been so long
Yeah.
since I've seen the first couple.
Well,
that I'm like,
and I can tell you, I've seen the first 2 seasons like 4 or 5
they're
times
so
each,
good.
and they're really great. And the third season, I started from the beginning, even though I'd watched half of it already. Started from the beginning.
Now you're here.
Caught stuff that were like that I missed,
Yeah.
and that was just so, oh my gosh. And you know what I realized is that sometimes I have really bad attention, like ADD. I mean, it's hard for me to sit and pay attention to stuff. And I sat and really tried to pay attention to what I was watching this time,
Right.
and just caught so much more stuff that was amazing.
I don't know about you or anybody listening right now, but for me, I swear things are just better upon multiple viewings. Like you can just appreciate it more. Like you said, there's things you missed.
Yeah, I just watched because I had it was on a free weekend where like Comcast, they'll put certain premium movies for like this weekend, watch it free. I just watched Aquaman again for the first time since I'd seen it in theaters.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this.
And I loved it just as much as the first. I really thought it was outstanding. Did I
really
talk about
is.
this on the show last? No, because it was here in this.
No, because you and I talk a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say we always. I never remember what I say on the show or what I just text. But but no. Anyway, so we posted up the poll showing Robin's new costume from Young Justice.
How'd it turn out? It's gonna be this is a reveal for me.
So we had 215 votes total. 68 hated it. 147 loved it.
So it's a toss-up.
Those were the two issues the two options that I'd put. You either think it looks like ass or you absolutely love it.
So what did you think?
I loved it. I thought it looked great.
I did too.
A lot of people were like, I don't like the brown costume. To me, it's more like bronze and gold kind of.
Yeah, it looked traditional color scheme to me.
It almost looked very much like something you would see coming from the Court of Owls or the League of Shadows. But
yeah, because there's no cape.
There is no cape.
And he's just very, like clean cut kind of look. Like it's just very slick.
It really is. Now, I know traditionally in a lot of old stories, Tim Drake ended up becoming Red Robin. But that was a character that has really gone nowhere for a long time now. And I think they were like, all right, Tim Drake deserves a
his
solid
own identity.
Well, he deserves a solid identity. And we always make jokes because Tim Drake was Red Robin, but there were storylines where it was really confused because like Mark Waid and Alex Ross did Kingdom Come, which again is my second favorite book ever written.
Under the Dark Knight Returns.
Right behind the Dark Knight Returns. Thank you, Matt.
Shocker.
And but they made Dick Grayson, so this is set like in the future, kind of in an alternate dimension, obviously, but in the future. But Dick Grayson was Red Robin. He never became Nightwing. He became Red Robin, and he did kind of look like an old man in the Red Robin like outfit. Like just his body had that old man kind of shape to it.
Saggy boobs.
No, not necessarily, but you know how like. You ever seen a really strong or fit old guy, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't look the same as like The Rock?
He's a little loose.
You know what
Just
I mean?
A little loose.
Like he can't get his pecs the same size anymore. Everything's just kind of solid, but he looks solid, Yeah. But yeah, so I just think that was character not getting his due, and they were like, "Hey, Tim Drake, he deserves to be something more than just Robin, but we don't really want to make him Red Robin anymore." And they gave him a cool new costume. I don't know if they're gonna change his name, to be honest. I don't know if he's going to have a new identity.
Oh, like not Robin?
I don't know.
I think his suit looks great.
They've only talked about the suit, so it's making me concerned. So I
He
I
still
think the
wears
next
the
issue.
What do they call the mask? Like, what is that style?
The domino.
Domino.
Domino mask.
I love that mask.
Yeah, he still has.
I'm glad
it.
he still has that.
But yeah, I think that I think it'd be interesting if they changed his name and everything. But yeah, I thought that was cool, man. We got a lot of good responses. A lot of people commenting about Did somebody just break a fucking plate?
Hoopa!
Opa.
We're actually broadcasting from a Carrabba's.
Yeah, we're in the wine cellar of a Carrabba's.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hot here.
Yeah, I'll take the Mott's, please. Matzo balls.
But yeah, it was really cool. Thank you guys so much for voting. It's amazing you guys can vote but not rate the page when we ask. So I really appreciate
freaking jerks.
Yeah,
man.
your response is phenomenal.
Actually, I love the feedback we get because,
Yeah.
like we were just talking about before the show, like just kind of like building off what you just said. It's like, how can you not agree with me? But then when people explain it, you're like, oh, I get that.
There's about 4 or 5 solid like fans who continuously like they're like honestly because we hundreds of people interact all the time, but there's like 4 or 5 really solid fans who are always there and ready to like talk about things, and I really appreciate that. I think that you guys are awesome.
Which, mind you, we say it all the time and we mean it. Like, if you ever want to like discuss things with us,
just message us. We have no lives.
We're just nerds, dude.
I work in a comic book shop. What else am I going to do?
Like, just because we have stuff that can record a show doesn't mean we're different. We need friends.
Yeah. But please, all jokes aside, if you guys get the chance, rate the page, leave us a good comment or response or whatever, a good review.
That junk helps way more.
Really
I know
helps.
Everybody says that, like you watch people on YouTube
Yeah.
and Spotify, but it really does help. And I'm not saying like it helps because it brings in money for us. That's not what I'm saying. Like
we don't get paid at all.
We're not.
But
yeah,
what it does is
fun.
every time you like and share the page and you leave us a review, there are algorithms for that stuff that let us be seen by more people.
We just want to build our community so we can have more people involved. That's all.
Absolutely. And
now pay me.
But all in all, we do appreciate it. Hey, Matt, back to business. There is a really interesting piece of news. There is a piece of interesting here, and it is that Kevin Smith, who you know is my fucking idol.
Yeah, which we discussed something yesterday that we should actually take action on.
Did we? What did we?
Yeah, about the Jay and Silent Bob Reboot tour.
I told you. Let's do it.
So, guys, they're doing a road show. Jay Muse and Kevin Smith. They're actually
we're talking about our personal shit.
Well, that's fine. That's whatever. But no. So yesterday, Jay and Silent Bob, Jay Muse and Kevin Smith, they're actually doing a road show for the new film for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and it's really cool. It's it's literally they're going on tour. It's literally them, and they go and do like a forum and
do
a
Q&A,
and they screen the new movie,
much like he did for Yoga Hosers and whatnot.
So, like, real talk, most all cities are sold out, and there's a bunch. This is a big tour, and they are sold out. And we are based in undisclosed location, Florida. I'm not going to give away our location. Jacksonville.
It's Jacksonville. I was about to say.
They are going to Orlando and Tampa, and there are seats available. And I feel like we are going to go. I think I'm going to buy the tickets for us, and we're going to go.
Buy the tickets tonight. I'll pay you back, payday.
But you love Kevin Smith, and I'll stop interrupting you.
I love Kevin Smith. I mean, dude is really my hero. I'm not going to get into, like, all the, fawning right now.
You just want to wear jerseys every day.
He is. I would love if I could just wear jerseys and large jean shorts. But he really inspires me to do a lot of what I do, and I would love to go see that show in Orlando, but
you are better looking than him.
That's not true. Mark Bernardin, if you guys don't know who Mark Bernardin is, he's Kevin Smith's co-host on The Bat and the Hat. Ooh, that's our fucking show. He's Kevin Smith's.
That's a great show, I've heard.
Yeah, he's Kevin Smith's co-host on Fat Man Beyond, which is their
the Fat in the Hat.
Yeah, which is their nerdy podcast. God, I hate myself. And he's fantastic. He's a writer. He writes on shows such as Castle Rock, which is the Stephen King show for Hulu, which is amazing.
It's a great show. I've seen a few episodes and I was blown away.
And so he's so insightful. I love listening to him talk. I don't always agree with Mark Bernardin, but I think that's important. I wouldn't always want to listen to somebody I agree 100% with, but they're doing a thing together for Netflix. They finally got Netflix money, and that is they are doing an anime. A fucking anime of He-Man, which is the weirdest sentence I've ever put together.
So I'm a little perturbed by that because, full disclosure, you know how everybody when they're growing up they have their movies. Like there are like a handful of movies that you have watched so many times.
Of course.
One of mine was Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh no,
Courtney
you're talking
Cox.
about the Dolph Lundgren one.
Oh yeah.
No kidding.
No, so like
that movie sucked.
I know, but dude, I've seen it like 384 times.
Can I just say that Dolph Lundgren, I just said I watched Aquaman last week. Dude really surprised me in that because I thought he was solid. Like he didn't have such a huge role, but in the role that he did, I believed him as the king of this other Atlantean, whatever. And I was like, damn, good for you, Dolph.
But dude, that was one of those movies. I am convinced that every person has a handful of movies that like define their childhood.
Right.
And Batman Returns was one of mine.
Yes,
but another one was the Courtney Cox and Dolph Lundgren starred Masters of the Universe.
Courtney Cox was in that movie?
Oh yeah, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah. And the Skeletor at the time, the effects were just, and all it was practical mask and all that.
I love the idea of Skeletor because he honestly could be such an imposing villain.
The reason
he always sounded like this.
Oh no, he sounded amazing in that movie.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was scary. But the reason I bring this up is because they had been talking about it for years that they were going to do a live action, like a new, because they reboot everything because people are running out of ideas.
Of course.
But I was excited about it. Like, I was looking forward to it. So when I heard this was what they were doing, I'm like, well, the live action's, out the door. So.
Well, now what I can say is that, so I don't mind that it's animated. I think that's a tough show to do live action, which in today's world, there's really nothing that hard to do live action, but I think that it fares better because they have the She-Ra show on Netflix as well. So what I think is that, first of all, they're both huge fans. When they were talking about it, it really put my faith in it.
And this is a continuation from the show, like the animated show. I'm sorry. I'm also thinking I wasn't thinking correctly. This is a continuation of the animated show
in a different style, in the more anime style. But
I gotcha.
They had said that. Well, what am I thinking? They said they're such huge fans. The showrunner, the guy above them, is the biggest Masters of the Universe. Like when they were talking about this, it really put my faith in it because he said, "I'm not going to do fucking dick and fart Clerks jokes, for this. This is something I've wanted for a long time. It's something we take seriously." And I like to see that because I like to see Kevin Smith out of his element. And people forget that he wrote really great comics like Daredevil, and he did Punisher stuff, and he did a lot of really great stuff for Marvel and DC.
Yep.
And the dude can write decent shit other than just the Clerks and the Mallrats and the stuff like that.
And I think you and I discussed this personally, but that was the I knew him as Silent Bob first.
Right.
And then, but that's the thing. I'm truly convinced that yes, he's very good at the corny humor.
Yes.
But he is so talented outside of that. But a lot of people just kind of think of him as Silent Bob.
Clerks guy, yeah.
Yeah, so
what I think
it's going to be good.
More than my faith in him is my faith in Mark Bernardin, because I know Mark Bernardin, when you watch a show like Castle Rock and you watch like the episode that he was heavily invested in, episode 6, it really like kicks you in the face and you're like, wow, like dude can write like fucking dialogue and can write a show and make it suspenseful. And if they can bring any of that magic to He-Man, and I'm not even, like I said, I'm not even a big He-Man or a Masters of the Universe fan.
I bet you will be after this.
I bet I will be after this.
I'm convinced it's going to be pretty good.
We've been having more talk about Matrix 4 because Keanu is coming back for it. Actually, the entire cast so far is on board except one of the directors, the twin sisters.
Lana,
the twin sisters.
Wachowski.
They I don't know. I don't remember her name.
Lana Wachowski.
The Wachowski sisters.
Well, when they did the trilogy, they were the Wachowski brothers, and now they're the Wachowski brother and sister, I think.
Was it? No, sisters.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it like a bad thing. I'm just it's just fact.
But one of them's not coming back. They didn't.
Yeah, it's just Lana.
There's something that they were not. I don't know if it was necessarily a falling out. You'd think it'd have to be for something this big not to want to be involved in.
Yeah, because I'm confused because it wasn't new that they were doing a new Matrix. Like they mentioned that like a year ago.
Well, they've been mentioning it for a long time now.
What I'm saying is it was like there's a new Matrix, there's a new lead, and I think they even announced the lead. I can't remember who it is. I think African American actor, but.
Michael B. Jordan, wasn't that it?
Who was it?
Is it not Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah, it might be. It might be. But anyways, I was under the assumption new character, new directors, same story. But then all of a sudden it was, hey, Keanu signed on. I can't think of her name. Moss. Trinity. I can't think of her real name. Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know
she's
you're talking
back,
about.
and then they said one of the directors, the OG directors, is back. I'm like, oh, damn, so they're going to legit make a continuation. Me, personally, I think this is a horrible idea.
Right.
I feel I'm laughing because there was a meme about Thanos when he killed Gamora, and it said a soul for a soul, and it said Spider-Man for Matrix 4. And and it was just somebody, just a random comment, and I laughed about it for days. And they just said, "You do realize we are on the bad side of this bargain, right?" Mm-hmm. And I agree. Like, I'm like,
yeah, I gotta say, I don't really care about this movie. I think it's interesting to talk about because it is such a staple of like nerdy fandom. But I was never a huge Matrix person.
Let's be real. It should have been a solo film. The first Matrix was such an original idea. In my opinion, somebody could argue that it's not.
It changed filmmaking, man. It changed visual effects.
It was an original idea. It was amazing from start to finish. They left it where it could be a solo film, and I feel like the second two movies were literally because it was a money grab.
Well, that's
and I didn't like
Hollywood,
them.
Man.
I didn't like them at all.
Yeah.
And I thought it was stupid. It had its high moments, but I'm like, really? I don't want to see a fourth one. Keanu's old. I know John Wick kicks ass. I love John Wick, but
my favorite Matrix movie is the first 20 minutes of the first movie, but
that whole movie is amazing.
It's all right. The Joker movie is getting an official R rating.
Oh, he's speeding his pace now because he's frustrated.
Sorry, no, I just keep I keep looking at the time and I'm like, man, we're gonna be on news forever. We have a lot of news today.
People know who Blade is.
Yeah, you guys know what's up with Blade.
It's gonna be a news episode, guys. Spoiler alert.
Joker is getting an R rating officially, which is pretty awesome. That's what we all wanted.
Did you not feel like it had to be that?
You just never know, man. Until it's
no,
official.
I mean you personally. Did you feel like that was needed?
I feel like it was needed? Yeah, for a Scorsese Joker movie.
Fuck
yeah.
Yeah, for a good representation.
It was like when they made the first two R-rated animated movies. The first one was Justice League Dark. I was like, yes, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then they did Suicide Squad Hell to Pay was the second.
Awesome.
And I was like, absolutely. And you watch it and it's brutal. And you're like, yeah, this is a Suicide Squad movie.
Give me your on the spot. How do you feel about Joker movie? Are you excited?
I think I've said many times. I can't wait. I think the trailer is visually stimulating. It really made me prepared for what kind of movie it's going to be, I feel.
There's a new one dropping on Wednesday, too.
Yep, there's a new trailer coming out on Wednesday that'll give us a little more insight. This trailer will be the make or break. If this shows a lot of new footage, this trailer could be make or break for a lot of people.
Right.
But even with the rumors that I've heard, the story altering, the canon altering stuff, it doesn't bother me. You know how easy I am to slip into this is a different world. It can be an Elseworld tale. It can be its own thing. I'm fine with that.
I'm looking at it like you said. It's a Scorsese flick, right? So I'm thinking The Departed, stuff like that.
Right.
Like, and I do not think of this as a. It's so easy to be like MCU, like everything's connected, because that's what we're conditioned to think.
Yeah, this is just gonna be.
I am looking at this as a one-off. This is my interpretation of this character.
If they do it well enough, though, and they end up connecting it to Matt Reeves' Batman movie, I'm not going to be upset.
I just don't think they can.
I know,
he would be so old.
Again, just do me the favor of waiting, like holding that opinion till it's all over. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be good, is all I'm saying. I think it's going to be great, but I think a lot of people are going to go in with the wrong mindset.
Yeah, I have nothing but faith in Scorsese and Robert De Niro.
Is awesome.
And Joaquin Phoenix, who has never done a bad movie in his life.
Well, I hated him in Gladiator because he played his character so well.
Yeah.
But
you hated the character, you didn't hate the actor.
He was like worse than Joffrey. Everybody
performance
gets mad
was fantastic.
about Joffrey in Game of Thrones.
Did you ever see Her? Where he felt,
no, I know what it is. I never saw it, though.
I only saw it kind of like glancingly. I watched the movie. Mm-hmm. I want to give it another shot because I was just really busy. I was working on something. But I kept getting sucked in. Like we were busy, and I kept like getting stalled by watching this movie, and it was really interesting. So I want to watch it again.
AI or something?
He falls in love with Scarlett Johansson, who's an AI.
She seems like she would be an AI.
Yeah, she's already robotic enough. I'm really excited about this movie, man. I think it's going to be great. More DCEU movie. Well, I guess that's not a DCEU movie, but DCEU stuff.
Right.
Is Ezra Miller out of fucking nowhere just confirmed the Flash is still happening and he's still attached.
Yeah.
Which that was contrary to everything we had heard.
Yeah, guys, I was the one that put up that post randomly, and I'm not like, oh, look at me, I had this news. It's, Deacon Frost and I take turns putting up the post on the page. We literally just
If we find it, we post.
Yeah, like that's what it is. It's just stuff that we think's interesting. We hope you do, but that was one that I put up because it caught me off guard, just like you said.
Yeah, dude, smacked me in the face.
I thought that movie was just canned.
Which
I thought it was done.
Don't get me wrong, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
I don't know. Like,
I'm wondering if they came to any terms, like maybe they took bits and pieces of what Grant Morrison and Ezra Miller had come up with, and they melded it into, like, maybe there was a compromise somewhere.
Because we've discussed this on the show before. Where did we leave it off? Wasn't it that Ezra
was out? Yeah, they said no to their script.
Him and the director were like good on their idea together, and they pitched it.
No, him and Grant Morrison.
Oh, okay.
The comic book writer.
Gotcha.
Wrote an amazing comic book
Grant Morrison,
writer.
wasn't he in Led Zeppelin?
Jesus Christ. No, but he is writing an amazing Green Lantern book right now.
Yeah.
And he's Irish as fuck. And he's a fantastic writer.
Do you still think they're going to try to pseudo-utilize Flashpoint to reboot their...
I would like to. I think that makes sense, man.
Yeah.
I think that, you know what, after seeing how poorly the CW shows did Flashpoint, I think that it would be refreshing.
I mean, with that aside, like with the
you just want to see Homeboy as Thomas Wayne. You just
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
We all
Jeffrey
deserve
Morgan.
That. We all deserve that. But no, I'm saying like honestly, because I've come to terms with it recently. I tried to lie to myself and be like, the DCEU is perfect. People are just they're watching it wrong, and that's not true.
No.
So there's a couple good ones. There's Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam.
I think Batman v Superman's not as bad as people
Man of
make
Steel,
it out to be.
Man of Steel, in my opinion, was great.
Man of Steel is a pretty good movie. I I have my faults with it, but I still think now Justice League I'll throw in the trash. I'll agree.
I was gonna say Justice League was garbage. They ruined that one.
I still would say that there's one or two like moments in it that I really like. I think that Cyborg was the gleaming light of that movie.
That's so sad that they're getting rid of Ray.
I really enjoyed Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I thought that his talk, even though it felt very inorganic where they met and like how they started the talk.
Yeah, but think about it. What you just said. It felt very inorganic.
Shut up.
Like I mean, think about it.
I get it.
He says one key part of dialogue that I always repeat to my roommate, and he's like, "Will you shut up?" But it's that line where he's like, "I wake up every day." Modified.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so cool.
But he did a really great job, and I thought that he was one of the best parts. I didn't hate Ezra Miller as the Flash. I
loved it. Everybody else said they hated it.
I just hated him as Barry Allen. He was a Wally West if there ever was one.
Yeah, but you got to think this is their Barry Allen.
No, I know, but
that's what they decided.
Yeah, I'm on board with you, but. Yeah, Justice League was pretty trash, but Batman v Superman was not nearly as bad as... The Martha scene was terrible. And I will say... It
actually wasn't. If you look into it...
It was just the dialogue, how they wrote it was not
If you look into
good.
what... So somebody wrote a review, or not a review, but somebody wrote it like, here, let me try to explain it to you so you can understand what it's trying to say.
Like a video essay or something?
And it was good. He was and you're right. They didn't portray the dialogue correctly, but it was more
it was just
like
written weird.
He is showing me that I've become everything I've sworn to destroy.
Gotta save Martha.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. But what I was building
so
at
bad.
is, do you think with the state of the films, think of how many are good? Shazam, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Man of Steel.
Right.
BVS is, let's call it 50-50.
Okay.
Justice League is trash. Suicide Squad, arguably trash.
Right.
But we love it.
Very fun.
Do you think it's at the point where they should try to just wipe out the universe?
So it looks like, well, I don't know if they can now. They're rebooting Suicide Squad, but with the same entire fucking cast. We have no idea what's going on with Henry Cavill, because the last interview that he did, the woman was like, you are, I don't even know his name from Witcher.
Geralt. He is the Witcher.
Yeah, you're Geralt and you're Superman. And when she said you're Superman, his eyebrows went up and he goes, And he was like, right, yeah, and he just moved on. But
I think
was
he
like,
doesn't know either.
Yeah, I know, but it's so like uncertain, and
which is a shame. 'Cause
I don't know.
He's a great Superman.
I don't know what exactly they're doing, but I think that things are fixable. That being said, now that we know Ben Affleck is nowhere near ever doing this again, fuck him. Like, you need to reboot, because I hate recasting and sticking them in the same pool of something and then just being like, you guys are cool with this, right? You guys know it's the same character. It's unnatural, man.
Well, you also like the idea of Robert Pattinson.
I love the idea of Robert Pattinson.
I can't stand
and
it.
I will fight anybody who doesn't understand why. You guys
fight me, bitch.
You really still have like
yeah.
are
They
not...
even showed there was a fan edit of like everybody in their suit, you know, and obviously he had his cowl off. It showed like when Ben Affleck was in the Batcave looking all badass, all big.
I will say
and his
that
cowl was
training
off,
scene,
and then they put Pattinson's head on it, and I was like, he looks so just not Batman. Like, why would anyone ever be intimidated by this guy?
I disagree, man. He's got Bruce Wayne face for days.
I told you I want to be wrong.
I really
amazing.
hope we walk out, because we're gonna see that movie together. I really hope we walk out of that theater and you go, dude, you were right. Assuming they make it well,
Dude,
assuming it's a good movie.
Look, at the end of the day, like we've discussed, I always rant and rave about Deathstroke and Red Hood. Those are my guys. That's because Batman is off the list. He's above it all. He's like the title.
Yeah. I love Deathstroke so much. Like,
I do.
Did we talk about this last show at all?
What's that?
Was that trailer out last time we did the show? The Titan Season 2 trailer where it showed Deathstroke?
Yeah, because I can't. Again, I don't know what we tracked and what we
guys. Just in case we didn't talk about it,
Deathstroke was Deadshot.
Titan Season 2 had a trailer come out and Deathstroke was revealed, and it was perfect because he goes, "No way!" and the guy was like, "What?" and he goes, "Deathstroke," and it panned into Deathstroke, and it looked bad in the released images, like because it was all fuzzy and shit.
And he looked
but
like
when
Deadshot.
you finally get up to him and see the color and everything, he was Deathstroke.
He's
like,
perfect.
It was
it's one of the best portrayals of a comic book character. Except they literally gave him a Deadshot eye.
Except I will say, Joe Manganiello looked a little like for as big as he is, he looked incredible.
He looked dope. And it was like a very original take on his helmet, like the way they did that split, but it went off.
Yeah.
That's such a shame. Manganiello, Joe Manganiello.
Joe Manganiello.
So, anyways, what else we got?
Kit Harington is going to play the Black Knight in the Eternals.
Jon Snow.
And you brought up there's another
two Starks have entered the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, so with the addition of Kit Harington as Black Knight, that will add 2 Game of Thrones alumni to the MCU. I know you're not a Game of Thrones nerd.
Nope.
So for everybody listening that is, you probably already know, and if you don't, now they have Robb Stark and Jon Snow, who are brothers.
And isn't the guy in Titan Season 2 playing Bruce Wayne, isn't he one of the Starks?
Yeah, he was in Game of Thrones as well. I think he was a very bad pick for Bruce Wayne, but let me watch Season 2.
He looked good in the trailer, I think.
No, I mean, he looks cool. He's a great actor, but it's just like, all right, Batman's off the table, I guess. So, but yeah, that's crazy. So I'm thinking the MCU's like, yo, we lost our big star people.
Right.
So now we got to start making some strides, because you got to think in that movie they also have Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Selma Hayek.
Isn't that a weird pick, though?
Yeah.
Like, Selma Hayek fits, and not that Angelina Jolie doesn't, but I guess maybe it's just because I haven't seen her in stuff that much.
Yeah,
lately.
but I also forgot they got the hilarious guy from Stuber, which came out recently.
Stuber. Talking
Yeah,
about
the one
Kumail,
with Batista.
Kumail Nanjiani?
Huh?
Kumail Nanjiani?
Yes, he's in the Eternals as well.
Yeah,
he
looks good,
Yeah,
too.
but here's the thank you.
He's ripped.
Here's the funny thing: they marveled him up because he is jacked, and maybe he always was, but he always played those silly roles.
He talked about like a year ago before this was ever a thing. He talked about in an interview. He said, "I would love to do a Marvel film because they'll pay you to send you food and have a personal trainer."
I still think
out.
Chris Pratt is the shining example of that, because he went from Parks and Rec fat boy.
To be
Chris
fair,
Pratt.
he was ripped for what was that? Where he was a soldier before the MCU. He got ripped for oh fuck, what is that movie called?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
He got ripped because of
No,
the
he
MCU.
got ripped before that, dude. He was in that movie about somebody help me out here. One of the fans, somebody tweet me at BatHatOfficial because I can't. He was in that.
You're making this up.
I'm not. Look it up. He was in a movie. He played a soldier, and it was before the MCU, and he got shredded for that.
Nope.
And now, God, I can't remember what it's called. Dawn was something Dawn. I don't know. Regardless, what were we talking about? Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani. He was talking about.
But yeah, he looks.
He was
crazy.
very excited
that
they would pay you to get, ripped.
Oh, Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30. Thank you.
You
fuck.
Hold on. Let me see something. Zero Dark 30 came out in 2012, and Guardians. Oh, yep. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, I was about to say there's no way that was after Guardians. The 2012 is when the first Avengers came out. I already lost it. I already lost what we were talking about. Okay, so there's 3 new Marvel shows coming out as well. We've already talked about like Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision and some of the other ones. But they announced 3 more. She-Hulk, which is going to be an interesting. I have no idea how they're going to do it, what they're going to decide to do. I feel like it's going to be a situation where we see. Could She-Hulk? Could she go back and forth between regular and normal?
I have no idea. I'm not versed in her character, but I'm just more curious. All these shows are supposed to be in the same.
Yes, these are MCU approved.
So these have direct implications on future films.
Reportedly, yes.
Okay.
Or
they could be prequels.
And they should be all live action, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Moon Knight is going to be live action, so Moon Knight's getting a show, and so is Miss Marvel, the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel. That has to tie in because that's going to be directly related to Kamala Khan is the character, is her name, and it's going to be directly related to the Miranda. What was her name? Maria Rambo. Thank you.
Oh,
and the daughter.
So now it's going to get real confusing. So Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Shazam used to be called,
I still
Captain Marvel.
I still think Shazam. Shazam is my Captain Marvel.
That's what I'm just saying. It's just people, again, just the casual people that just want to enjoy good stuff. They're going to be like, wait, what? Where's Christian Bale? I thought he was Batman.
So we have 2 more pieces of news. One that you had just given me before the show. Nathan Fillion is reportedly going to be in Suicide Squad. He has an unknown role currently, but he is going to be in. I don't know what to say, man. I love him more than anything.
He's one of the
amazing.
best. The fact that he never got to play Nathan Drake in an Uncharted movie.
The fact that he never got to play Hal Jordan the way he wanted to. He always wanted to be the Green Lantern.
He should have been Hal Jordan. Which he has been in animated.
He has been animated.
He should have been when he was younger, when they were doing Firefly, when it was in its peak. They should have continued that show.
Yeah.
Which I'll never know why they didn't or brought it back. B, he should have been,
especially after the movie and everything.
Should have never been Ryan Reynolds. Should have let it be Nathan Fillion. And then 3, and most importantly,
wait, you said what should never been Ryan Reynolds?
Green Lantern.
Oh, Green Lantern.
Yeah,
okay.
Hal Jordan. And then 3.
I think even at that time he was still a little old though.
No, I think he could have pulled it off.
You think so? Okay.
And then most importantly, he should have played Nathan Drake because I firmly believe that other than Nolan North, who voices Nathan Drake, Nathan Fillion is like the embodiment of that character.
Now that's been getting kicked around for a long time.
Oh no, that's legit. It's Tom Holland, and it's coming out. I'm pretty sure he's already filmed it. They were calling something else.
Oh, is it done now? Okay.
Yeah, it's worked on. I was waiting for them to say, "Hey, Robert Downey Jr. is playing Sully," which is like Nathan Fillion's like confidant.
I love how you say Fillion.
Fillion?
Fillion. Magniello. Awesome.
Whatever.
The last piece of news is, Matt, you wouldn't really know a lot about this just because this is comic book, like, recent stuff, but I figured you'd get a kick out of it anyways. Back-to-back books have kind of speculated heavy. I'm going to go ahead and say spoiler warning for Batman number 77 that just came out this week. But if you're reading comic books, you've probably heard about it. If you're reading comic books, you've already read it. Or if you read Batman, you've already read it. If you don't read Batman, you probably don't care. But and then last week, the week before Batman came out, they'd had Justice League Odyssey, which is a really amazing book that I've been on. And I don't remember what issue. It was like 14 maybe. Back-to-back deaths. They had a death in Justice League Odyssey that was pretty big, and a death in Batman. In Justice League Odyssey, if you don't know, right before the whole Dark Knight's Metal event, way back, now a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, right before that happened, they had the Darkseid Wars. That kind of ended the New 52. And when Darkseid was put down, he was transformed into a baby. And in the Dark Knight's Metal event, you had a really great shot of Batman searching for the nth metal, and he had baby Darkseid strapped to his chest and a baby Bjorn. And it was one of
that was when Batman was in the Mobius chair and everything, right?
That was during the Darkseid Wars,
okay.
Correct. That was when he found out that there were 3 Jokers.
Right.
So right after that was the Dark Knight's Metal event. You saw baby Darkseid, and since then he's been regaining power. So in Justice League Odyssey, you've been seeing him as kind of like this teenage version of Darkseid, just not at full power. He doesn't really look entirely like himself, but enough. And the whole thing has been him tricking Cyborg, Starfire, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, and Azrael into doing his bidding to get him back to full power so that they can save the negative zone. No, not the negative zone. What is it called? The ghost sector. That's it. So they're trying to save the ghost sector as well as save the multiverse. And it's a big thing. I know I'm giving a lot of background story, but regardless, Darkseid got to full power, and he looked amazing. The artwork was so crazy, and Jessica Cruz, she can't charge her ring in the ghost sector, so she's been draining down to 4%, 3%, 2%, and with her last percent of power, as he's talking shit, being like, he said something like, I'm impressed you went from being somebody who couldn't step outside her front door because she was agoraphobic, to somebody who's in the ghost sector fighting on her last percent of power. And she uses that last percent of power to encase her hand in light and punch him in the face. And he goes, I would have really liked you. And he completely disintegrated her with the Omega rays, or the Omega beams, and left her a pile of ash on the ground. That was huge. Jessica Cruz just got fucking annihilated. It was very cool. Then, this week in Batman 77, we're in the City of Bane story arc, where Bane has beaten Batman and taken over Gotham. It is now Bane's Gotham, and the rule is he has Alfred hostage, and if any of the Bat family enters the city limits, he'll kill Alfred. Well, Damian Wayne don't give no fucks about what Bane says. So Damian sneaks in, kicks a little bit of ass, gets warned, and then he finally gets captured. Now, Bane has under his employ Thomas Wayne, the Flashpoint timeline Batman, and Gotham Girl, who is acting as his Robin, who is a new character created in the Rebirth series. And she is stronger than Superman. I mean, she's stronger than Superman, has all the basic same powers, but the more she uses her powers, it kills her. So if she uses her powers for too long or too much, she'll die. But she is the Robin to Thomas Wayne's Batman, and Batman is in like fucking France or something with Catwoman recovering. Anyways, Damian sneaks in, and he's going to take them on, and he gets captured. He gets taken to the manor and strapped to a chair, and as he's being spoken to, Thomas Wayne grabs hold of Alfred's head and breaks his neck right in front of Damian Wayne. So Alfred was just killed in the Batman continuity. Now, we all know that that means nothing in comic books. We all know that deaths are so very easily reversed, and none of that stuff ever really has to do with anything. However, it was a very shocking moment. The books have spec'd up. A lot of people are trying to buy multiple copies because they think it's going to be big, and if you get on the train now, you can sell yours for like $20. And you bought it at like $4.99 or $3.99. So that's my little comic book news for this week. A little bit of spoilers. And then the last piece of news we have, Matt, is the big one. We lost the kid. Spider-Man is no longer in the MCU. And let me tell you why I don't give a fuck. Of course I care. Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man. Sony, basically what happened is Sony and Marvel were meeting to re-examine continuing their contract. Now, it's important to tell you guys that he still has 2 movies on this on the current contract. So he may still get a 3rd movie as well as 1 more cameo, or it could just be 2 more cameos in 2 movies. We don't know. There's no Spider-Man movie on the Phase 4 slate, and nothing announced for Phase 5 yet. To be fair, I think the only movie for Phase 5 technically announced is Black Panther 2. I think that's technically Phase 5.
I'm still reeling from when he got dusted in Infinity War. And I know how it plays out. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, God. So now that we're losing him, I can't handle it.
But I think it's important for people to have perspective on this because there's a good chance, one, that Marvel is not going to let this slide. They're either going to try to buy Sony, because that's what they do. Disney buys stuff. Or they're going to just offer them an exorbitant amount of money to buy the rights back for Spider-Man.
That's true, but on the other side of it, part of me will honestly say that Spidey deserves to be with Venom and Carnage. He deserves to have his own world. He is, in my opinion, he is Marvel's Batman.
Right.
He is the draw.
Right. Okay, that's fair. If they buy the rights back for Spider-Man, I'm sure they're going to make a package deal and bring those characters back.
I know, but I'm just saying let's play imagination that Sony keeps him, right?
Yeah.
And they go down the road where let's incorporate them with what we've already built with Venom. And
that's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Sony can't make a good movie to save their life. I don't know how they did Into the Spider-Verse. That was lucky, but I don't trust them anymore with making Spider-Man movies. And I say that knowing how much I love the Tobey Maguire movies, and I don't hate the Andrew Garfield movies, but there's no doubt that they're not up to the Marvel par. And what I think is important is that we don't just suddenly not have Spider-Man in the MCU anymore, because that would make...
It's too pivotal.
Like, how would that make any sense?
It's too important now.
Right.
It's just too important.
So I really would, unless they kill him, which would just kill me.
Well, they left it on such a huge cliffhanger, and I'm sorry, but
right.
Far From Home has been out forever, so they revealed his identity.
Yeah, we have so much story to
tell.
So
much left unresolved.
Yeah.
Like, they can't do it. Like, they can't just be like, oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I would absolutely hate it. But I think that Marvel's going to get this resolved, or they're going to come to terms. We do still have 2 more appearances in some capacity left in the MCU on this contract. And, regardless of what happens, I put my faith in Kevin Feige. I think Sony was being really petty. They put out the statement that we just felt that Kevin Feige didn't have the time to focus on this character.
I feel like by default, since everybody loves the MCU, that Disney could, and I'm not saying they are,
right,
but Disney could have easily just been the dick in this scenario, and then everybody's like, oh God, it's Sony, it's their fault. And then we don't know. We weren't in the freaking boardroom.
Well, for those of you who don't know what exactly happened, is they had a term that handled first gross, which means that they got a certain percentage of the opening day profits, and they got, I think they got merchandise sales. But Sony got all of the box office profits after the first day. So 100%.
I thought Disney got like 15%.
No, they got like 2%. It was 2% of like the opening.
And they asked for 30, right?
Huh? No, they wanted to split 50-50 profits because they were putting in all the legwork.
See, and here's the thing is what I heard was, hey, after all this, why don't you give us 30% of the film gross, but we'll pay half of the production. So it's like they were like, we want a lot more of the revenue, but we'll also... Because from what I understood,
I think the deal was that they were it was gonna be more like that, we wanted to, like, we're putting in a lot of the work still.
Yeah.
We want to split this 50-50. I'm sure that there was production costs and whatnot included in that ideal. However, Sony said no. Now you can take that or leave that as whose fault that is. Sony is still a company, and they had to look out for themselves.
Yeah, you can't ever blame people for that.
Right.
I mean,
so
at the end of the day.
That being said, I just don't think Sony makes a lot of good decisions.
But I've also read the articles too, where they're like, Sony's basing it off of, hey, look, we made Into the Spider-Verse on our own, which is arguably the best Spider-Man property that has come out on film. Venom,
right,
regardless of the feedback, did pretty well. So I read somewhere that they were saying like Sony feels confident that they can from this point take it. Which, whatever, if they think that's true.
That's fine.
I think that they're dumb though to just
I think it's fine that they maybe have been like, oh, we've learned something from watching Marvel make this character. And we think we can do it well. But fuck you, I want him in the MCU.
Well, I'm just saying, it just seems silly.
I'm not opposed.
All they have to do is let Marvel be in the driver's seat and then reap the rewards. It just seems silly.
I think it's silly that they don't let him stay in the MCU with some sort of deal and then be like, but we're also going to make the solo films will be Sony.
Sure.
I don't know if I would even hate that idea. Maybe they could be like, hey, we're gonna have some films that are like with Venom and stuff. They don't need to intersect.
There's
Do they
no
need
way
to intersect?
they can't cross paths. Like, they have to.
I
like
kind of
Venom
dreamed
and
of
Spidey.
having 2 Spider-Man.
I want Tom Holland and Tom Hardy to square off. And even if they become friends or whatever, they need to have one
Tom
conflict.
Hardy is somebody I would like to see put in the hands of the MCU. Again, I think
Tom
that
Hardy needs to lay waste to Tom Holland is what he needs to do. But you're right, it needs to be in the MCU.
Venom was a very subpar movie. It was fun, and I've watched it a couple of times now. But the last time I tried to watch it, I couldn't get through it.
Yeah, but can you imagine this?
Right.
Take that actor, that character,
right,
and put him in the MCU and let them do their thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It would be amazing.
That's what I would want.
Yeah. So
but,
we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we're gonna see, guys. Keep in mind, the Bat in the Hat podcast is an optimistic podcast. We like to believe that,
it's all going to hell.
Yeah, we like to believe that not everything is just going to be complete shit, and we hope that you guys share that ideal because things can turn out awesome. It's a really great time to be a comic book fan.
Look at all the stuff that we get constantly.
Look
we're
at
just
this
so
stuff.
We're so used to getting
Isn't it.
We're just
neat?
like,
sorry. But it really is just like you're saying, Matt. It's a great time to be a comic book fan. It's a great time to be a fan of these characters. So just like sit back and enjoy the ride, man. It's not your money. You're not putting your money on the line for this stuff.
Yeah.
You're not the one putting forth millions of dollars to make this shit happen or not happen.
That's true.
Just enjoy. Pay your $15 to go to the movies.
Shit, I'm in the A-list, baby.
I will say though, regardless of the A-list, the next big one that comes out, we are gonna pay the $20 each to go see in the 40X theater. They have a 40X theater here in Jacksonville, and if it's one of the big like space MCU movies, like Guardians or one of the ones like Eternals, I'll go see that in 40X. That sounds awesome.
Where's that at?
It's at the Avenues Theater.
But I'm in the A-list.
But it's 40X, Matt.
But I'm in the A-list.
We can go. We need to go see a 40X movie.
Whatever.
You guys should go see it too. 40X is amazing. It's basically it's like that Universal Studios when you're like the Bugs Life thing or the Muppets where like your seats move and it like you get sprayed in the face with shit and stuff will like poke you
Ooh,
from
I love
behind.
shit in the face.
Yeah, love it. But hey Matt, how do you feel about a real good ad read?
I've actually been practicing, so I am ready.
All right, you
Let's
want to
do
take
it.
it from the top?
All right, here we go.
And a 1, and a 2, and a... Hey everybody, what's going on? Me and Matt really do hope that you love the Bat in the Hat podcast, but did you know that you can actually get paid just for listening to this podcast? I know it sounds insane, but it's true. We just discovered this free new app called Podcoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. Here's how it works. You listen to podcasts and you earn Podcoin while you listen. Then you turn that Podcoin in for gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks. Or if you're a good human being, you could even donate that Podcoin to charity. The more you listen, the more you earn.
So here's what you do. Download the app right now on iPhone or Android, and I have a special code just for you. Simply use our code, BAT in the Hat, and you'll get 300 Podcoin. Podcoins? Podcoin. Just for signing up. And if you listen to enough of us on there, you can get a cappuccino at Starbucks or maybe even an Amazon gift card on us. So go ahead. Go listen to this podcast or virtually any podcast on Podcoin. Sign up with code BAT in the Hat. I swear, it's going to change the way you listen to your podcast forever.
Oh man, we killed that ad read this week, man. We did it so good.
Like a glove.
Like a glove.
Yep.
So let's dive on into Blade. What do you think about the remake, man? We got Mahershala Ali, who is pretty well known for a couple things, man. He was was he Copperhead in Luke Cage?
Yeah.
Or was he
Cottonmouth?
Cottonmouth. That's it. He was
I always
Cottonmouth.
get that confused.
Yeah. And I think the other dude was Diamondback or something like that. But,
I don't know. I never actually watched Luke Cage.
Oh, it's a really good show, man. You should actually check it out.
I know him from Alita.
He was in
Most
Alita Battle
recently.
Angel, which was really fantastic. He was also in Moonlight. And I think he was in the Green Book that just came out.
Yeah, I've heard all about that.
Yeah,
how great
I heard
that
a
is.
lot of
He's
good
with,
things.
Hugo Morrison. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you're
I heard
talking
that
about.
was just a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I haven't seen it yet, and I would really like to see it.
I'm not gonna lie. When they said who was gonna be taking the mantle, I couldn't really recall what I knew him from, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a great pick. And then I saw him in Alita again, and just his demeanor, and he was wearing a dark outfit in that movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's gonna be killer. He's perfect.
Yeah, there was, and again, probably just because I loved the first season of Luke Cage so much that I love both seasons, but he was primarily in the first season. I immediately was like, yes, great cast, good pick, man.
He looks great in the fan art too.
Yeah, in the Boss Logic fan art that dude did, it really looks fantastic.
Because he didn't really take any liberties. He just took real photos of him. And was like, yo, let's just put him in some of the garb and give him the tats, and he looks awesome.
100%. I think that he looks really good.
Keep it 100.
I keep it 100.
100.
And I think that it's going to be really cool. I think that Blade deserves, a really good adaptation. And I say that knowing, what people feel about the original movies.
You got to think that was all pre-MCU.
Right. Well, that was in the day that they didn't take comic book movies seriously.
Yeah.
That was in the day where they just fucked around with them, I think.
Like Tom Jane Punisher.
Thomas Jane Punisher, yeah, man.
I love that movie. I think that movie is so good.
On Comcast, I just saw that they have Punisher
Warzone. Ugh.
And I was like, man, I need to watch this again, but I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Ray Stevenson is actually fantastic.
No, he's
the guy
great.
That plays Frank Castle.
I just can't believe he accepted that movie. And that was earlier in his career, I guess, but the that scene where Homeboy flipped over, like he was jumping rooftops, and he did a flip and got blown up by the rocket in midair.
It's like, the RPG.
It's so bad. But,
well, you knew they were just like, yo, we're going to do Punisher, but it's like video game Punisher,
right?
And it's just going to be ridiculous.
You know what? It totally was like the old arcade kind of style video game Punisher.
It was silly.
But
they did a really good Jigsaw, in my opinion. I thought the way they did Jigsaw was great.
You know what? And as much as I absolutely am in love with the Punisher TV shows from Marvel, I wasn't as impressed with that version of Jigsaw.
So I was impressed with the character, but the way that
I was impressed with Billy. Yeah.
Like his wounds were not appropriate after what he did to him in the finale of season 1.
Reportedly they had a really the original makeup and stuff was a really disfigured face.
Had him really mangled.
But they didn't think that he would be able to blend in. They didn't think that people would like it. They didn't think it would make sense as much.
Well, yeah, because in theirs, they wanted him to still be able to operate in the real world.
He was
sense.
supposed to operate and not just scare people away immediately. Yeah. That being said, that wasn't super true to the character. So
and plus the actor's like a good-looking guy, so I'm sure.
Yeah. Super good-looking guy. Yeah. I think it was still solid, but I would have liked a really fucked up Jigsaw. But the
So this episode's about the Punisher.
I was about to say, yeah. So in preparation for the remake, which is still a couple years off, but I did just watch Blade 1. I didn't want to watch all 3 because I just didn't think I deserved to put myself through that, but. I've seen them all. I mean, God, how many times have you seen them? We've both seen them.
I actually, just before we even said we were going to do an episode about Blade, I had just watched the whole trilogy 3 weeks ago.
Oh, did you really?
They actually hold a very special place to me because, again, good, bad movies.
Yeah.
Arguably the biggest reveal from SDCC was when they said Blade. It just blew me away because I was like, they're never going to touch on Blade.
Well, and that was the one, like, really surprising, kind of new.
Yeah.
It wasn't sequels. It wasn't the TV shows that we were all privy to. It was something that there was rumors kind of.
I was going to say there was no hint. It was just a surprise.
There was a little bit that they were like, they're thinking of redoing Blade. But the original rumors that I remember said it was going to be separate from the MCU. It was going to be its own thing. And then they were like, nope, Blade, and it's Mahershala Ali, and it's going to be awesome. And I was like, fuck yeah.
That stole the show for me. Like, it was a huge deal for me when they said that.
So just a little history, Blade made his first appearance in the comics in the Tomb of Dracula number 10? Number 10, I think?
Yeah.
Tomb of Dracula 10. And he had a big afro and like that, what's that jacket kind of called? That felt, like, not leather, but like
a duster?
Kind of like a skin, like a Native American cowboy kind of jacket. It's like brown and it was made out of like cowhide and stuff, but it wasn't leather. And tassels and bell bottom pants and he was not nearly as intimidating as he turns out to be. And I gotta say, they just did a couple weeks ago. They just released a one shot that was Wolverine versus Blade, and what
a matchup.
The artwork was incredible, but the dialogue was so bad.
Blade to me is intriguing because he literally is what he is sworn to fight. Like, he is a vampire.
Well,
he's a hybrid.
Yeah,
but...
so the interesting thing is, and I don't even know all of the differences, but again, like the movies that we just watched, those had a very different story. He was like born was he born a hybrid?
And, human mother.
But he was given a serum to keep it in check.
Well, so basically, he was a hybrid that was born a vampire. The only difference is he had a sunlight immunity, and essentially that was it. Like, he had all of his thing was, I have all their strengths and none of their weaknesses. Right. Well, he did. He had the thirst. The thirst is their biggest weakness.
That's right.
So him and Whistler, and they just came up with another way, like a synthetic, rather than having to, off people and drink their blood. But he's always so intriguing to me because he is, it's like sheer will, essentially.
Right.
Like, that's exactly what he is. He's just walking, talking, fighting willpower. Like, I am stronger than all of them. I am them, but I'm going to make sure that I don't succumb to that. So
what I thought was interesting is that his Wesley Snipes' portrayal of him, there were some instances where it was kind of like on the nose, like on the money, right? And then some instances where it was just bizarre. And there's a couple fun stories that I want to get into down the road about Wesley Snipes and being Blade. But so in the comic books, he wasn't. There were times where he was very he never joked, right? He was always just a very serious, kind of tortured, mission-driven person. And then there are other comics where, just like I guarantee they'll do with the MCU, he had charm and he melded well with the environment around him. The MCU is known for making their characters charismatic and have some kind of rapport. And
they can't help but make them quippy.
So I'm sure that he's gonna be one of the more serious characters, but also I'm sure that he's gonna have lighter tones. And I didn't think that they would have those just off memory. I was like, they didn't have any of those in the original Blade movie. He was very stoic and
oh, you're crazy. You just haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, they had some, but I don't think they were intentional because they had some
he's hilarious.
Really funny moments. One of my favorites was right at the beginning. He's saving the doctor, right? And obviously this is the first one. He's saving the doctor from the hospital. He had just gotten done slaughtering the nightclub and Donald Logue's character, who for some reason doesn't die after all that he does everything he's done to kill vampires to him, and Donald Logue's character just doesn't die. But he's saving the doctor from the hospital, and the security comes in and starts shooting him in the chest, and he goes, "Motherfucker, are you out your mind?" And I about died.
No, he's got some very hey, can you just be Wesley Snipes for 5 minutes? And dude, there's some moments that are just hilarious.
What's interesting is Wesley Snipes as a person is pretty charismatic.
He is. Yeah.
Like when you watch interviews with him and see him in other stuff, he's you're like, I would get along with this guy. He seems like pretty decent.
That's what I'm saying. In those moments, I swear the director was like, just be you.
But
be you.
So I think it's interesting the choice he was making as an actor with Blade, trying to be as stoic as possible and then slipping out of that.
And how great is it, the fact that Wesley Snipes, this is going to sound silly, but my favorite role he's ever done, his defining role, was Simon Phoenix in Demolition Man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the reason I bring that up is because he was, in his prime, he could go toe-to-toe with, any stunt man. Mm-hmm. He was, martial arts, very fit, very athletic. Right. So it was perfect because for Blade, he did, I believe, almost all the fight stunts at least. I know he did all those.
You would be wrong.
Really?
That's one of the first stories I want to get into.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to stop.
So he was very heavy reliant on his stunt people, very much so. Huh. And by the third, I know we've talked about this. By the third movie, by Blade Trinity, he was in, and this is absolutely true. You can look it up. He refused to be on camera unless it was a close-up and a dialogue shot. So unless his face was going to be pulled in on and he was doing dialogue, he refused to be on camera. His stuntman was in 75% of the movie as Blade, and he was only in 25%.
Well, Trinity was terrible,
but
so
he
I'm not
got.
surprised
But you know
by
what I'm
that.
saying? By
Yeah.
that third movie, now that could be different.
The
with
first two are different.
that could have
to
been
be.
different with the first one or first two, but by the third movie, he was so like I'm not like maybe he just didn't enjoy doing it. By
Well,
then.
3 shouldn't have been made, 100%.
Fair enough.
But
But
I
you-
get that.
But you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
so I can't attest to the first two movies, but I do know that by Blade Trinity, he just wasn't in the movie almost at all.
It's weird to me because the first one, I don't know if it's nostalgia or what, but
Right.
the first one is just really cool, and I love it because it reminds me of like the first live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's
Yeah.
really dark, like it's super dark, and I think it was just the time. But like the first one, all I think is, all right, club, just dark nightclub, death. Like that's all I
Right.
think of the first movie. It's just like electronic hip hop.
That
nightclub
first
music,
scene
death.
really pumps through your mind, and the dude who was like, when you're introduced to the movie, it's that blonde guy in the Kangol hat,
Yeah.
who's being driven by the really attractive vampire and brought into the club. I only know him from Sons of Anarchy, and he was a really great character in Sons of Anarchy. And then Donald Logue, who is also in Sons of Anarchy, he's right after.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I see those things, I always have to wonder. Like whenever I see Mark Boone Jr. in anything, I always have to wonder. I wonder if the director, producer, whoever had to do with Sons of Anarchy, because when they do like TV, they like to keep the cast of people they're like good with that they've done. You know how directors.
Well, you
will...
recall who's in the second one, right?
Who?
Perlman?
Perlman? Huh?
Ron Perlman.
I was gonna say Perlman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that always.
So
makes...
I would think you're onto something.
So that always exactly. So that always makes me wonder. Like, I wonder if these people had anything to do with Sons, down the road. But, or maybe Kurt. What was his name?
Oh yeah, I know who you're trying to say.
Kurt Shutter.
Yeah.
Kurt, whatever he who created Sons. You just gotta wonder if he was a big Blade fan. Like the. But yeah, no, really cool. So you kind of get introduced to that night scene and the blood sprinklers. There was some good imagery in that, like you have the blood sprinklers going and all the one, I want to know where they got all the blood from. Two, the look on the dude's face was pure terror as he wiped his face and saw, oh, this is not water, this is like blood.
Right.
And he hits the floor and they're all like going crazy. But as cool as that moment was, it's almost spoiled by the corny pan up of the camera to Blade standing there, which I think was meant to be like a really badass moment, but it just something about it seems so goofy.
Well, it's so funny because they do this a lot, but especially in Blade 1.
Right.
The vampires are like that stereotypical, like sex-driven,
Right.
like all we do is bang each other and we just
Yeah.
maul
It's
each
very
other
True
up,
Blood
and
True Blood
we just want to
vampires.
drink each other's blood.
Yeah.
And, like it. And then he's just like, y'all are disgusting. and he
Whoever
just
created
kills
True
them
Blood
all.
watched that movie and was like, I got it.
But I don't know why, but like the first one to me is just, I think it really is just because it's a product of the times. Like it's
Right.
just dark, it's kind of gritty, it is stupid, it's a dumb movie. To me, Steven Dorff made that movie because
yeah,
he was
man.
such a great,
My namesake,
Opposite.
Deacon Frost, man. He was really,
Deacon
really
Frost.
interesting character,
like,
man.
and if you watch the movie, his dialogue isn't anything amazing. It's just the way he kind of portrays the character.
Yeah,
Like,
his
he's like-
portrayal of what he had. Again, I always have a lot of respect for actors who work with what they got.
Yeah, he just kind of rolled with it.
And he just went with it, man. And he was like, "All right, this is this
like
is my
like there's a scene where they're in the park in the daylight,
right."
and Blade's like, yo, what the hell, it's daylight, what are you doing? And I always laugh because apparently the only thing a vampire has to do to walk outside is put on SPF 50,
Really?
because in that whole movie, if
that's,
you watch, they're just
yeah.
like sunblock, and I'm
Yeah.
like, really?
that's really really funny. I completely forgot about that
Yeah.
that moment, that
Yeah,
scene.
they are literally, it's like 10 a.m. and they're in Central Park or something, and they're just out.
So a couple of things I really loved. One is, again, he's saving the doctor. Was she a doctor or nurse? She was a doctor. She was a scientist,
Who, that lead?
right?
The
Huh?
lead? That,
The lead
yeah,
woman,
she was
yeah.
a nurse or something.
He's saving her, and he throws her out the window onto the rooftop next to the hospital, and he jumps out, and the guy with the gun is chasing him, and so he throws her around the corner, and he does a little spin move around her.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he does the spin move, he does the spin move right back in the opposite, like right back, so we can throw the door.
It's that 90s like same footage, just forward and backwards.
So it's like spin move, and he throws the door open. I was like, what a useless movement you just did. It's just cool because they thought at the time this looks really cool.
I hope in the new Blade, like, did you notice that a lot of the moves he pulls in his fighting is just obnoxious?
Yeah.
Like, I hope they do that. I really do in the new one. I hope he does just some, like, I mean, he does a lot of, the sword was stuck in the ceiling, but I knew when it was going to fall, so I was fighting for 10 minutes, so then I dropped to one knee and I caught it behind my back. That's what he did with the vial and all that stuff. Like, I love that. It's so cheesy.
It was so cheesy.
And then like he kicks the syringe into Oh Boy's face.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
That was
so
cool.
stupid.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah. I love it.
One thing that I thought was pretty interesting, again, he does little spin move, and he takes her back to Whistler and is like, she was bitten. Can you save her? And
he's like, yeah, no problem.
He's like, yeah, I think I got it. And while he's like injecting her, and he's like, we'll see if she makes it through the night. If she starts to turn, we got to kill her. He goes to see the dude who's supplying him with the serum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, I think the serum. I think I'm getting immune to the serum. The guy was like, yeah, I was afraid that would happen. No other words are spoken. He just hands him the serum, like, oh, I guess that's where this ends. And they do this really cool, like, we've known each other for a long time handshake. And I was like, damn, I wish I were cool enough to have a handshake like that.
Yeah.
And then it was so organic. Like, that was perfect, right? That you could tell. And then he does, like, this really weird, quick turnaround and marches out the door. Like, he's that weird kid in high school who thought he was a vampire.
Yeah.
So it was really exaggerated, stupid movements that made me think of that weird kid in high school. And it was like, dude, you're in front of your homeboy. You don't got to put on this act. like just leave the room naturally.
The one thing that killed me about the Blade series as a whole is, and you kind of just touched on it, she got bitten, right?
Right.
And they're like, oh, it's like their whole thing is, oh, it's a disease. Like, vampirism is a disease.
It's a germ, right?
And it makes sense. Like, that makes sense. They're just saying it's a virus, and you can play on that.
But that's what they called it, right? The vampiric germ.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a big deal. They were just like, oh yeah, we have a cure. Huh?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
that, you know what? That was my thought too.
They didn't even touch on that again. They were just like, oh yeah, if we can catch it quick, we can cure it.
100%. I thought about that, and I was like, wait, you can stop somebody from turning, and this isn't like a bigger part of this movie?
You want to eradicate vampires, and you know how to cure it, but you're just going around killing them. And that's a whole big deal about the second one.
Well, they can't kill them. They can't cure them once they've turned, right?
Well, no, they have to catch it like prior, but still. But like with Whistler, it was the same thing. They were like, he's been bitten, and they treat it like it's a drug addiction. They're like, oh, we have to give them the cure, and they have to rehab, basically. And if they can rehab, then they'll live. If not, then... But it was not a big deal. They were just like, oh, whatever.
Let me tell you something I hated. He was giving Blade the serum, and Blade looks up and sees Homegirl, like, standing in the shadows, like, watching them. And then Whistler goes on this really creepy chase. They left her unsupervised. Like, it's their fault. They didn't strap her down.
Yeah.
And so he goes on this weird limpy, because, he has a real messed up leg. So he goes on this weird limpy chase, and it's terrifying. Like, for a minute, I'm like, oh my, I would be terrified if somebody were chasing me like that. And then he,
he's not even that fast.
And then he cuts her off at the, he's like, I know where she'll go. And he cuts her off at the intersection, and he's like, you lost, darling? And I'm like, how fucking creepy was that, man? And then immediately it shows him cut to, he's filling up the Blade mobile, and he spills gas, so he cranks the thing, right? You remember how it was like the gas can, you gotta crank it? So he cranked the gas can, and he yanks it up, and the gas starts flowing well before he gets it to the car. So he sprays gas everywhere, puts it in the car, and then immediately pulls out a lighter to light a cigarette. And I'm like, dude, Whistler's a wild man. Like, dude is on something.
Like, these movies were not super well thought out.
There were some good, like, again, just little stupid things that you can laugh at like that were fun. I like when Blade is, like, messing with some tech that I guess Whistler was helping him fix. And he goes, this is still heavy. And he's like, you're still big.
Yeah. I know we're, like, constricting it to the first one, but the second one is arguably the best film of the trilogy. Like, it was the sleeper hit. I think the second one was the best one.
Right.
But it was the same thing because Norman Reedus took the guy that plays Daryl Dixon.
Yeah.
He took the lead as the tech guy.
Yeah.
And he's like the same. He's just like some bug, and he's just like, oh yeah, I figured out how to make UV grenades, no problem. Like, you're like,
now,
what?
You know what? And they did that with a lot, like Gone in 60 Seconds and like the original Fast and Furious. They always had, the 90s always had
the
these
one tech guy.
They had these tech guys who suddenly could do these amazing. I love that line because they kind of put it into Fast and Furious, which is still the best of the movie franchise. The first.
Oh yeah, everybody should know that Fast and Furious is.
The first 4 Fast and Furious movies, I'll give them a lot of credit for because I love Tokyo Drift. And I think the movie that came right after Fast and Furious, I thought that was pretty good too.
You refer to it as the Fast and Fury Eye when you're talking.
The Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
But I thought that I love that line in the first one where he's talking to the tech guy, and he goes, man, you should be like at MIT or something, because he's using a computer program that was like not even uncommon for that day. But it was like modeling a car and using like graphing stuff, and
He's like using Windows Paint.
Yeah, I'm like, he's like, you should be in MIT or something. He's like, I got that attention deficit disorder.
I love when they don't build on that at all. They're just like, oh yeah, these people are just so smart, no one else can do it.
Exactly, that's the thing. So they're like, we got a tech guy and he can do really amazing things.
They did it in Underworld also. They're like, we made UV rounds.
They did that in like just all of these early 2000s, late 90s movies.
I love it.
And
you don't have to build on it. It's a fake world.
It's almost invaluable. Because that was like the day and age where like we don't have to fucking explain everything to you guys.
Exactly.
Like, it's a comic book world.
And that's where things get so convoluted. Like, don't feel the need to, like, we don't need to have baby steps for everything.
I love the idea. It's like, there's fucking vampires in this movie, guy.
Yeah,
like,
whatever,
stop
dude.
thinking we need to make this
like, yeah, obviously I know how to harness UV light into a bullet.
Right.
It's not a problem.
That's a really good point, man. That's so funny. Now, I want to ask, and grab your phone real quick, see if you can fact check this. How far before or after was the second Blade to Boondock Saints?
Oh, okay.
Check that out for me. See, because I want to know, because I know that Boondock Saints was super early in his career.
For Reedus?
Yeah, for Norman Reedus. That is one of my favorite movies. I think that, what's his name? The guy who plays the detective.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. I think that was one of his.
He was in Blade 2 in 2002. 2002 was Blade 2.
Mm-hmm.
Boondock Saints was 1999, which I believe is when Blade 1 came out.
Okay, no kidding. So that's
no,
awesome.
Actually, there's a bigger gap. But anyways, 1999 was Boondock Saints. Blade 2 was 2002. So 3 years later.
All right, now find out when Blade 1 came out.
Blade 1 came out.
Specifically, just so we know. I thought it was 98 or 97.
I think it is 98.
Here we go, folks. We're good. I love this like dead air time where we're just
98.
It was 98.
Yeah.
All right.
So because it was 5 years. It was 5 years.
Yeah,
between.
there was a gap. I do remember that.
Because you can see it in the quality of the film. They made some advancements in CGI and all that stuff.
Oh man, let's talk about CGI for a minute. The ending fight between Deacon Frost and Blade, where that is the greatest blood effects I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, when he hacks him in half and then he comes back.
You know what's crazy to me though is that, honest to God, even by today's standards, when he would throw like the metal stake through their hearts and they would burn away, it didn't look bad.
No, it looked cool.
It looked, honestly, because it would go down to their skeleton first and then they would dust. And I thought that was pretty neat, and it doesn't look bad.
The thing that killed me the most was, like, nobody knew anything about this blood god, but Deacon Frost somehow knew all of it, and they never explained it. He was just like, yeah, I know all about the blood god. And they're like, oh, it's a rumor. And he's like, no, I have, like, blueprints. And then I'm laughing because they show, you were talking about, like, the guy on the computer.
Right.
He had, like, a program that's like, here's how the temple is assembled, and the blood will fall this way. And then, you know, the blood moon will shine down. And
where did they get this information?
Like, where did you get that?
Like,
what the hell?
But when he's harnessing, like, the blood and all this crazy, it's so ridiculous. Did you know that originally they had a different ending planned?
I would imagine.
Well, no, it was going to be worse. The original ending planned was he was just going to turn into, instead of the kung fu fight and the whole thing that they did, he was just going to turn into a whole cloud of blood and attack Blade.
Well, they picked a better alternative.
They picked a better alternative, but it still looks so bad.
Like when he hits him with the serum, when he does the thing I was talking about where he catches it behind his back because it was up in the thing. Mind you, when he does that spin kick and kicks it into his face,
right,
that's amazing. I love corny shit like that.
Yeah.
So I loved it. But when he turns into the blob, like when he's like, because the serum hits him and he's the blood god, I'm like, yeah, that's that 98 freaking CGI,
love
dude.
it.
I love it.
So what I love is just like you said, where like he just happens to know that it's going to fall there.
Yep.
I kind of love that when they have a character that, because they make you, as a kid, they make you think, he's so good at what he does, and he's so hyper aware.
Yep.
It's not even that he's good at what he does. He just knows. He knows what's going on around him at all times.
Yep.
So he's so hyper aware of all that he can do shit like that.
It's pretty cool.
And to me as a kid, that was always really cool.
Yeah.
I have such fond memories of Blade, man. I have such fond memories of all this.
Don't even get me started on the third one when Dracula shows up, because oh boy, from Prison Break, it's hilarious when Dracula comes into the modern times and somebody says, I'm going to go ahead and drop my cuss word for the episode, but somebody says motherfucker, and I laugh at this every time because Dracula goes, motherfucker, I like that.
Oh my God.
Like he's never heard it before.
That's so funny, dude. I don't remember the
Ryan
third
Reynolds
movie
and
that
Jessica
well.
Biel as well.
I remember Ryan Reynolds, and I remember him being kind of funny and like lightening up the tone.
He plays the same character in everything he plays, which is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, which is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it gets a little.
And Jessica Biel's just hot, so hot.
Oh yeah, she's gorgeous. I don't like the third movie, man.
The third movie's stupid.
I don't even remember the third movie that much.
Cool concept.
I haven't seen that. Movie. I haven't seen the third movie.
I heard that this remake is going to be similar to that story, because the rumor was that. So the idea of Dracula being the patriarch is awesome. That is a great idea.
Well, that was a huge part of Blade's history.
Yeah, that's the original.
General.
That's like the best storyline. But it's a great idea. The movie was just executed stupidly. But I've heard that this is just a rumor, that they've confirmed they want Wesley Snipes to be in it. They were like, we want Wesley to be in the movie in some capacity.
He's supposed to come back in some capacity.
But another rumor was he's going to play the villain, which is Dracula.
Sure.
And it kind of blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's pretty bold.
It's interesting. It is bold. That's a good word for it.
Like, are you going to do a trilogy, or are you doing one? Like, are you trying to go all in on one movie? That's cool. Like, do it.
Right.
Whatever.
Which I doubt, because it's in the MCU.
Well, yeah,
they're not going to leave it at one.
Have they done any that were just one?
No, it'd be interesting though if they started introducing characters just for one-off movies in the MCU.
That'd be cool.
I don't know if it'd be great, but it'd be interesting.
It would make it a little bit more, I don't want to say valuable, but I mean, kinda. Like, it's just like, this is a one-time story thing.
It would close it for, like, if the movie was a really good movie and it was successful and they still decided to leave it as a one-off, it would leave it from, they could ruin this down the road.
I feel like that's off the table now. They're not worried about, we wrote such a good story, let's leave it as is. That's not a thing
It's
anymore.
all the almighty dollar for sure.
But we've pretty much covered Blade.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about Blade. I mean, Blade was Blade. It was I really enjoyed watching the first movie again. I thought that it was like a blast from the past. I hadn't seen it in a while. I haven't seen the third one all the way through in like 10 years.
It's silly.
But I am somehow really, really excited for the remake or for the reboot in the MCU. I think that it's going to be a really cool concept, and they're going to introduce more characters, because that gives you hope that they'll introduce characters like the Punisher and Daredevil, because they're kind of on the same plane as Blade.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them. Actually, I would. I guess you could call them B-list. And not in a negative way, but like they're not as up there as Captain America and Thor.
Well, I wouldn't call them B-list, because again, I think like Daredevil's one of the most popular characters in Marvel.
You know what I'm trying to say, though, right?
But like less powered, people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily superheroes. They're not all superhuman. Some of them are, but they don't have the power set that Thor and the Hulk have and whatnot. So, it gives me hope that they're going to bring more characters like that in. But thank you guys so much for listening, man. We're it's getting dark and we're getting
yeah,
tired.
we have no light in here.
We have no light in this room.
This Carrabba's is closed.
This Carrabba's is closing. But thank you guys so much again. If you could go ahead and rate the page, leave us likes and whatnot, and share it around. That'll help us out tremendously. Matt, you got anything left to add?
Nope. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you later.
Good. Thank you guys so much. Good night, Matt's mom.
Take care.